Hello, party people. This video is just kind of, I suppose, a beginner sort of guide. If you've never done yoga before, then I'm just going to walk us through a few poses, a few important facets of yoga, and some tips and tricks. So first off, you're going to want a mat. Beach towels will suffice for a while, but I think that there will come a time where you feel, if you enjoy yoga enough, that you'd like to get a mat. The reason being that it doesn't slip when you're in poses. And so I have a jade yoga mat. It's made out of recycled tire, but I know that there's other mats out there that are great as well, much cheaper. There's mats at Target. Gaiam is okay. It's a little bit slippy. But you can always buy a blanket, a really thin blanket to put over it that actually helps grip the mat. And so that might be an option. There's also gloves online and like socks that have the grippies on them. And so they're kind of like hospital socks, but they have the toes out and the heels are for the most part out. Sometimes they're not, but that helps to grip as well. So if that's a better option up until you're able to get a mat, or if you like that more, totally fine too. You just want to be able to have your fingertips not covered, so you want to have like the fingerless version, and your toes not covered. So, taking socks off during yoga, because socks impede with the connection with your mat. They also are very slippy, and so it might feel more comfortable to wear socks during restorative practice. Sometimes people wear socks, but I feel that it kind of gets in the way some of the time, and you can't really feel your mat as much. And your mat is your space, your mat is your world during those 30, 45 hour long spans of time. And so from here, we want to be able to have grippy hands and grippy feet. In yoga, one of the base things, I think, in every pose that will improve your pose is drawing your shoulders down your back. So working on our posture for a second here, if we can all come to cross-legged. If you have a blanket or a block, actually blocks are a little bit too thick. So I'm going to grab one of these pillows. So if you have a pillow or a blanket, placing the pillow down, coming to cross-legged, sitting on the edge of the pillow, and then shifting your weight forwards so that your sit bone skin is on the pillow, but your sit bones are on the mat. So you have, basically, it's not the comfort of the pillow, it's the lift that it provides. So that already immediately draws your pelvis back and up, and it makes it so that your back is nice and straight. So if we look here, this is without a pillow. And this is kind of more of a relaxed, but still trying to maintain a certain nice posture. But then with a pillow, if we put this here, shift that weight forwards. Now this is kind of the same effort I was putting into it, but it makes it so it's a little bit kind of like a cheat sheet, or kind of like a little trick. So coming to that cross-legged position, shoulders are down the back, chest is lifting up towards the sky. That chin is parallel to the mat. So we don't want to have our head lifted. We want it parallel, maybe even slightly downcast, so that that spine is nice and long. Crown of the head is lifting up towards the ceiling, like a gold thread is pulling us up towards the ceiling. We can start engaging our bandhas. Mula bandha, which is down in our pelvis region. It's down by our root chakra. So that kind of feels like you're squeezing in. If you really have to go to the bathroom, if you're squeezing in and you're engaging that and you're kind of tucking it in. So engaging that bandha. Then starting to lift up through the ribs, kind of scooping through for that Uddiyana bandha. Pulling that up. Lovely job, guys. For that nice flat back. maybe closing our eyes for a moment. Any itching, twitching, touching, scratching, it's normal to feel that way, but trying to just let it go. Trying to find that stillness. That feeling will go away in just a couple of seconds. Inhaling here. Exhale to slowly open up through those eyes. Nice job, everybody. So, as I said, shoulders down the back is just a really easy way for me to remember to have a nice straight back, because when I pull my shoulders down the back, my crown of the head immediately goes up towards the sky. It's kind of like you have a beam of light coming out of your head. So if the beam of light isn't coming towards the ceiling, it means that you got to straighten up. Chest lifting up towards the sky as well. So from there, when we do any forward folds, we want to keep those shoulders down the back. So if we're doing a forward fold in butterfly or butterfly or bakasana, grabbing the sides of those feet, drawing those shoulders back once more. Inhaling here, exhale, folding forwards with that flat back. We don't want to round through yet because we're not going to get as much space in our spine. So inhaling up, exhale, drawing forwards, leading with that chest, leading with the chest until we can't lead anymore, and then we round through. And we have a lot more space this way than if we were just to kind of try to get our nose to our toes right away. So inhaling up, nice flat back, shoulders down the back, exhale, lead with that chest. And when we can't lead anymore, we round through. Obviously, we'll all be at different levels, and that is okay. In in Bakasana, we can also place blocks underneath each knee so that we don't have as much tension on our hamstrings. Let's see. Yoga is all about surpassing the ego, which is really hard to do when you're trying to stay present in your mind and trying not to judge yourself on your practice. And so that's what makes it kind of such a mindful practice, because we're focusing on our breath, we're focusing on our inhales and our exhales through these poses. We're trying to get our minds kind of cleared out. Meditation is a practice. It's a muscle. You build it. It doesn't happen all at once. It's not like you got it or you don't. You gotta work towards it. And so even when we were focusing on breathing just a couple moments ago, when we had that nice flat back, that was starting to get into a meditation. It was meditating. And so in the practice, our ego gets in the way, which is really frustrating because sometimes the ego makes us do things that we wouldn't otherwise. And so sometimes it puts us into harmful positions or places where we might not be ready to be in. And so when we're deep into a pose, listening to your bodies, listening to maybe today is different than yesterday. Maybe I don't go as far, maybe I go a little bit further. The problem with getting really far into poses, if you're super flexible, is that a lot of the times if we've just started yoga, we don't have the strength to maintain that. And so you can end up hurting yourself by tearing something or whatnot. This won't happen in restorative for the most part, because in restorative, we're usually using gravity to open ourselves up. But this is just for any flow practice, just being mindful and being aware and staying safe. That's the most important thing, because if you hurt yourself during yoga, then you can't do yoga for a couple weeks. And is it really helping you then? I even find myself in classes taking a moment and thinking, why am I doing this? I don't want to be in a headstand. I don't need to be in a headstand. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. And so it's just kind of noticing where your body's at that day. So apart from that, just focusing on our breath, our pranayama, our life force, our inhales and our exhales, trying to inhale down into that belly, coming up through the ribs, through the chest, and finally the throat. And exhaling from the throat, through the chest, through the ribs, and finally the belly. And that will get you the most air possible. So if you watch my belly while I'm lying down, so starting down at the belly, as opposed to chest breathing, which we typically fall into if we're stressed or if we're not thinking about breathing, which is just breathing into here. So you go. And there's nowhere near as much breath that gets into your body. So when counting breaths, 4 counts, you breathe first into your belly, 1, 2 ribs, 3 chest, 4 throat, hold for 4, exhale throat, 2 chest, 3 ribs, 4 belly. So that's how I usually start my practices, is by kind of going over breath a little bit so we get into our mode of focus and presence. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. I can do a couple more of these kind of laying out videos or explaining poses if there's any poses that you are confused about, or that you don't know how to do, or that you'd like just a little bit more instruction on, then I could always just do snippets of single poses. But otherwise, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and namaste.